Welcome everyone to the Dutch GP in UFRL. We are currently in Tier 3 as it is Wednesday and we shall be soon be getting ready to start. I am your host, Datrashrak, and soon we will have our cars underway. Do apologise if my voice is a bit weird at the moment. I've just been sat eating some giant sour Skittles, so my throat's currently working through the sour Skittles at the moment. And by the sounds of it, we have our first cars underway. We have Bevan out as well. Let's have a look. Yep, we have Kesenator out now. So we now have 3 cars starting their outlap. Now let's have a look at Widget as he's the first car out. Now we currently have 5 cars doing their outlap. Had to take a second to count there. But it definitely seems as if we're going to have an interesting race here, as the Dutch GP is notorious for being one of the most challenging tracks on the calendar. However, we may see some close battles here tonight, as Tier 3 is definitely one of the closest out of the 3 we've got in this league. Now, the Tier 1 and Tier 2 drivers are definitely some of the best out there, and Tier 3 are definitely going to be the ones to make their way up. However, we shall see as we watch Widget start to make his lap. We'll stick on with him for the time being as the other cars make their way around. And since Widget is the first car out, he will be the one to set the provisional pole until the other cars set their lap time, as Kesenator starts his lap now, as well as Bevan. Going through the S's, now going downhill. Widget keeping it nice and tight through the corners. I'm not seeing any lack of downforce there, as he just absolutely rips it. This is looking to be one hell of a lap from Widget here at the Dutch Grand Prix. We've now got James, who has also just started his lap in the Red Bull, but we shall wait and see. We shall see how this goes. It looks as if Widget's coming up on a Sauber here. Let's hope the Sauber moves out of the way and doesn't impede his lap at all, as he makes it down the main straight towards the DRS zone. Let's see how he does. Ooh, wait, hold on, let me get the telemetry and everything up. There we go, much better. And that's Widget with a 111.6. Let's see how the rest of the cars do here. Ooh, that's not too bad from Kesenator, I will admit. For Kez, that is a very solid lap. And that's Bevan going 2 tenths faster than Widget with a 111.4. Let's see how the other cars do, and that's James now with a 110.8. These cars are just getting faster and faster, and of course it happens to be the Red Bull that sets the pole. Oh, and that looks as if he's got his teammate behind him. That's another Red Bull out there, and it's the Red Bull of Cowley. And Cowley looks as if he set his lap with a 112.9. Let's have a look here as we go on board with the Alpine here of Mr. Piggy. And it looks as if that's a yellow flag, but that just might be a car moving out of the way. Now we've got quite a few cars here out on the outlap, and that's Doug with a 110.9, only a tenth off of James. It's definitely going to be a close race here at the Dutch Grand Prix, I can tell you that much, especially with how close these times are already. Oh! And Mr. Piggy and Shazam, both cars have lost it, and they are retired from the session. That is absolutely unbelievable. As Wilco now goes and sets his time with a 1:11.9, putting him in 7th place. But oh my word, I'm glad I was on board for that and I managed to catch that moment. However, that is a very unfortunate flying lap for Mr. Piggy as he just loses it into the barrier. It just seems as if he lost his rear end coming off the banking there. But we shall have to wait and see now as Bakey now starts making his way around the track, going up to the S's, and then down, and then towards the downhill. Let's see how he does, and that's Ziggy with a 1:10.8. However, that's very close to James's time. My word! It is just close battle after close battle here when it comes to the timings. This is absolutely amazing with how close the drivers are. Within the top 5 drivers, there's less than top 6, the top 6 drivers, there's less than a second between them. That is absolutely amazing. It just goes to show how almost matched in skill these drivers are. As Bakey now comes down the finishing line and he puts himself into 5th place with a 1:11.1. Getting closer and closer to the 10 times here. However, it's the top 4 that hold the 1-minute 10s, with Cowley taking the last spot in the 1-minute 10 with a 1:10.982. With Doug not far in front with a 1:10.971. And then James with a 1:10.897, and then Ziggy with I can't even speak, I'm this shocked, with a 1:10.878. This is just absolutely amazing, and we've got Ivy now taking 5th place from Bakey with a 1:11.159. Oh my word! This is absolutely insane. The timings here are insanely close. I could definitely imagine it's going to be quite a battle in the race here tonight, folks. We're watching Ivy now as he makes his way around, looking as if he's going to go for a second lap, maybe. As he comes down towards the hairpin turn. And let's see how he does going into the DRS zone. Ugh, excuse me. Oh! And that is retired. However, he did set a time of a 1:12.3. It looks as if Kez won't be starting last. However, we do have Mr. Gent. I do believe he's making his way around to start his time now. Let's see how Gent does here. As he makes his way around, it's definitely keeping it nice and tight. Oh, and he invalidates his lap time. Going around sector 2, he invalidates the lap time as he moves over to the side for the Mercedes going past him. I believe that was Doug going past him. Yes, it was. Doug being the only Mercedes. Oh, no, never mind. He's not the only Mercedes because Bevan's in the Mercedes. Excuse me. Ooh, that was a twitch from Doug there going down the corner. He somehow managed to keep it. However, that rear end just stepped out viciously from underneath him. As he comes up to the DRS zone now, let's see if he can improve from that 1:10.9. Let's just see how he does here, going down into the hairpin. Even though it's not really a hairpin, it's more of a sweeping turn, ignore me. However, he now comes up to the banking with the DRS in sight. Let's see how he does as he throttles it down into the banking against the wall. Let's see how Doug does, and Doug takes pole position with a 1:10.851. My word! That is absolutely sensational from Doug taking pole from Ziggy. However, their times once again extremely close together. This is going to be one hell of a race, especially with how close the times are. My God! Nearly all the cars are within a second of each other. Like the top 11 11 of the cars are within a second of each other. This is absolutely insane. I've not seen anything like this during my commentary of any kind of league racing. This is absolutely mad. I am in shock here, folks. I'm struggling to find the words here. That's why I'm repeating myself so much. I just genuinely cannot find the words to describe how awestruck I am. So we've got Doug now pulling back into the pits as we've now got Cowley making his lap around the track as he now starts to come up along the uphill as he starts to go into the sweeper turn, and that's a purple sector for Cowley as he makes his way to sector 3. That's a purple sector 2 for Cowley as he comes up now and starts to make his way towards the banking. With the DRS in sight, he floors it. Maybe he can get that. Maybe he can get it. Let's have a look here as he floors it down last gear towards the finish line. And that's Cowley once again improving with a 1:10.5, going 3/10 faster than Doug. My God, it just keeps getting better and better by the second. This is just absolute pandemonium and an absolute flyer from Cowley. I can imagine he's absolutely buzzing with that lap there. Managing to get 3/10 up on Doug, who is known to be a strong qualifier in this series. Oh, it looks like we've got Cowley pulling over to the side now so that some cars can pass. Let's have a look. See, as we've got Optimus in the Haas with a 1:11.1. Let's see how he's pulling into the pits there. Let's have a look at James now. Let's follow him. Going round on the S's as he comes down towards sweeping turn. As he now throttles it full force in the Red Bull. I will say one thing, the Red Bulls are looking amazing in this qualifying so far. First and fourth for the Red Bull. That is a strong starting position for them both. Excuse me. So let's just go over the standings really quick at this moment in time. We have Cowley in pole position with a 1:10.5. Doug not far behind with a 1:10.851. Ziggy with a 1:10.878. We have James with a 1:10.897. The top three are literally within milliseconds of each other. Well, second to fourth are literally within milliseconds of each other. Then we have Optimus in 5th place with a 1:11.139. We have Ivy in 6th place with a 1:11.159. We have Bakey with a 1:11.194. And then we've got Gent with a 1:11.2. We have Wilco, I'll call him Wilco because that's what I know him as on Discord, with a 1:11.2. We have Stone Cold in 10th. Bevan with a 1:11.4. Widget with a 1:11.6. Cinders also with a 1:11, slightly slower than his teammate with a 6:53. We have James Killer, who is in the kick with a 1:12.3. We have our boy Kez with a 1:12.4. And we have Mr. Piggy and Shazam, who have not set a lap for this qualifying. If you ask me, this is probably the closest qualifying I have ever seen in racing so far, especially in esports. My word. However, we still have 3 minutes to go. So a lot of cars now are going to be doing their outlap. They're going to be getting themselves that final chance to see if they can improve. All of them trying to fit on new softs. Well, except for Wilco. Wilco's got 5-lap softs on. However, I think he might be changing them into newer softs now. Let's just see how this goes. So we have Stone Cold on his lap, it looks like. However, it looks as if he's moved over for the Ferrari. Let's just see how he does. I think he might be coming in after that. Let's follow up Optimus here as he goes from the start, making his way through the banking there. Very nice, keeping it nice and tight in the house as he goes uphill and starts to make his way towards the S's, towards the downhill turn. And let's see how he does. Let's see if he can keep that rear under control. And he does. Gripping through those corners. Let's see how he does as he makes his way through to the sweeping turns here. We're getting yellows in sector 1, it seems. I think that just might be cars moving over by the looks of it. Oh, it looks like Kez has improved. Kez has moved up to 14th place with a 112.2. And I believe someone's just moved up here. Yes, it's Bakey. Bakey taking second place in the Williams with a 110.5. My God. Hold on a minute. They are literally 0.001 seconds away from each other. What? This has to be the closest time I have seen to a qualifying pole position in the time that I have been commentating. 0.001 seconds away from each other, folks. This is absolute insanity. And in my opinion, this is going to be one hell of a battle between Cowley and Bakey. My God. I stand corrected. Ivy coming in on pole with a 110.4. Oh my God. This qualifying has just been absolute insanity from start to finish. That is absolutely insane. Let's see if anyone can improve here as we come into the final lap of qualifying. We've got Doug going round in the Mercedes. However, his fuel light does seem to be flashing. Bakey, that was an absolute hell of a lap, mate. Absolute hell of a lap. However, it seems to be Ivy that's taking the pole position in the Dutch qualifying so far. So we shall just have to wait and see if anyone can kick Ivy off of the pedestal here as Doug goes across the finish line, but still stays in the same place. We've got Bevan, we've got Ziggy, never mind, Ziggy's just crossed, we've got James and Bevan still to complete their laps as James makes his way around towards the finish line with a DRS it seems. I'm with you on that, Kez. What has everyone taken tonight? Because everyone's just been driving like they've got a fire lit underneath them. Right, so with that, we have the standings here. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot just so that in case anything happens, I've got a picture of it ready. And with that, we shall have a 5-minute break we shall have a 5 minute break and then we will be back to racing. So until then, feel free to grab yourself a drink, grab yourself some snacks, and prepare for this absolute insanity of a race. Alright folks, we are back with the race about to start in potentially a minute. There we go. Just got the ready up signal from one of the hosts here, and soon we shall be getting this race underway. And here we go, it's 3, 2, 1, and it's lights out for the race here at the Dutch Grand Prix. Let's see how we start off here. As we've got Ivy absolutely barreling it down the straight as, ooh, there's quite a lot of dives here going into turn 1. Oh my word. Hold on, I got full map on. Decision change, stops, tyre. So we're doing the vault. Oh, and it looks as if we've had a collision here, as it's Bevan at the back of the grid. My word, that is not a great start for Bevan here at the Dutch Grand Prix, as he's already 1.5 seconds from Shazam, and we've already got quite a cluster here in Sector 2 as we make our way down to the sweeping turns now. This is just absolute insanity of a conga line here, as we've got quite a lot of cars hopping back and forth between each other as we start coming down to the main straight. We've got Doug on the tail of Cowley, and we now have a conga line going down the main straight as Ivy manages to stay ahead, and he's built quite a gap so far. We shall have to see how this goes here, folks. Ivy keeping it nice and tidy through the turns here, up the banking, as we've got Bakey and Cowley not far behind. However, Bakey has to worry about a massive conga line right on his tail as they go through the turns into the downhill. We shall have to see how this goes as it gets closer and closer, this conga line getting tighter and tighter. My word, it's going to be one hell of a race here tonight, folks. And it looks as if we've had an accident here, and it seems as if Widget's come off, and that is not looking good for Widget as he drops towards the back of the grid. Got Shazam going off a bit there, potentially to avoid Widget. However, now we have gone back up to Kezenator, who seems to be doing quite well this race. He's already gained quite a few positions. Quite honestly, Kez, my fingers are crossed for you, lad. Let's just see how this goes. And we've got Bakey setting the new fastest time with a 1:13.5. Let's just go back up here and watch the Williams of Bakey as he starts to close in on Ivy here. Let's have a look at this, and we've already got some overtakes further down the grid as Doug and Optimus with the switchback here going up the hill towards the downhill turns. My word, we are getting some battles here tonight for us. It is just back and forth with some drivers here. We've also had some unfortunate instance towards the start of the race, and that's Widget once again going down. Widget has not had a great start tonight, folks. That is absolutely heartbreaking for Widget so far. However, Kez now going in with Bevan. Oh, that looks like contact. However, that may have just been my game lagging quite a bit, as we've now got Kez being overtaken by Widget, and Kez trying his best to stay close. My word, let's go further back up the grid here as we've got Ziggy in the Sauber, and that's Prime with the fastest lap here. My word, what is going on? That's Optimus with a 1:13.4 taking the fastest lap from Bakey. And Bakey now has overtaken Ivy to take first place. And it seems as if he's setting the purple sector in the first sector. My word. Bakey is just absolutely flying here. However, Bakey is one of the strongest drivers in Tier 3 looking for that Tier 2 promotion. So we will just have to wait and see how he does in this race. We are only in the starting lap so far. Lap 4 out of 36. Let's just go further down the grid here as we've got a few cars bunched together. However, there doesn't seem to be any overtakes happening so far. However, we do come down to the main straight and it looks as if some cars have DRS as they come off the bank, and we'll have to see if we have any overtakes on this straight. And no, it doesn't seem so. Doug and Optimus keeping it close to each other. However, Cowley right on the tail of Ivy as they go up into the S-turns, up towards the banking. And my word, Ivy is trying his best to just keep his distance from Cowley, but Cowley is catching up, and he seems to be catching up quite quick as well. And let's go further down once again, as we've got quite a gap between some drivers here. We've got Ziggy, who seems to be all on his lonesome, bless his heart. However, we'll go down to Gent, who seems to have Wilco behind him, as well as James. And hold on there, I just saw some position changes here, and that's Kez with the 3-second time penalty. Like clockwork. Oh, Kez. You just can't help yourself, can you, lad? You just can't help yourself. However, now, let's move on and see how the drivers do as they come down the main straight. And we've got Cowley overtaking Ivy. Ivy dropping from pole position down to 3rd place in the race. Only 6 laps in. However, both Cowley and Bakey are extremely fast drivers. So we will just have to see if they can keep their distance in this race. Excuse me for a second, folks. Sorry about that. I think I've tweaked my shoulder at work, so I just had to shift a little bit just to deal with a bit of discomfort. However, let's move back. Oh, yeah. Sorry, that's my bad. Sorry, Pesci. However, we've got quite a few gaps here. Oh, and that... Wait, hold on. What the hell happened there? I think that may have been a bit of lag on my end. Yeah, I definitely know Bakey's smashing it. However, it just seems as if my game's lagging quite a bit there. And oh, that's Cowley and Bakey going at it now. However, Bakey managing to stay out in front. However, we've now got Jen and James battling it out now as they go back and forth, and that's Jen managing to stay in front of James. Yeah, I know, Pesci, my game's lagging quite a bit there. Don't worry about it. Anything you see is probably not happening in the actual game. It's probably just my game. Lagging out quite. However, let's go further. No, it's further up the table. I need to be not further down. As we've now got a close top 7 here. Oh. Looks as if with all that Cinders has come off the track now. Both of the Ferraris not having a great race this week, as both drivers have come off at some point or another. And that's Cinders now down into the lap. Again, we have quite a close top 6 here. And it's just a very neat conga line going round the banking now. And Shazam is overtaking. Never mind, it's a back and forth between Kez and Shazam. My word, Kez is defending quite well here as he keeps the V-carb right behind him. Oh, and that looks to be some more overtakes here. And it's Optimus overtaking Ivy. Ivy just seems to be dropping further and further back here. I don't know what seems to be happening with him tonight. Let's move a bit further up here as we watch Cowley, who is over a second behind Bakey, so he won't get that DRS going down the banking. However, he does have Doug very close behind, 0.4 seconds, so will Doug be able to catch him going down the straight? And then Doug's going for it, and he almost gets it, and he does. He manages to stay ahead of Cowley. However, Cowley now trying to fight Doug off as they go down into the banking. Wow, my game is lagging hard here, my God. The car's now making their way uphill over towards the downhill turn, and Doug managing to keep it nice and grippy going down as Bakey's once again just absolutely increases that lead now to 1.6 seconds, it seems, now going between 1.4 and 1.6, now up to 1.8. My word. However, Doug does have Cowley to worry about as he had DRS going down into the turn there, and he will have that DRS again going down the main straight off of the banking. So we'll just have to see how Doug copes here as Cowley activates the DRS as they go round and off the banking. Cowley keeping it close to Doug and gets him on the straight with the DRS. However, Doug does have a few cars behind to worry about with Prime and Ivy not far behind him. He's got it's quite a nice conga line going down into the banking here as we just follow it round. And, that's very close from Optimus. And we've got Kesinator once again battling with another driver, and it seems to be Mr. Piggy this time, who Mr. Piggy unfortunately lost it during qualifying and sent himself into the wall off the banking, and it seems to be Shazam that's come off there and just gone onto the grass. Gone onto the grass slightly. Sorry, excuse me. My voice kind of caught in my throat for a second. Excuse me. So now, as we watch the top 10 here, we've got James on the tail of Wilco. We've got Gent not far up in front with Ziggy, Stone Cold, Cowley, Ivy, Optimus, Doug, and then Bakey all the way out in front with a 4-second gap. And there seems to be a battle going on with 9th and 10th place here as Wilco just manages to keep it ahead of James, and we've got Widget overtaking Mr. Piggy going down into the first corner. And we've got more battles here as Gent overtakes Ziggy. My word, he's just switch up after switch up here, folks. However, the race is still long, and we shall see if any drivers pick up any penalties. I mean, I definitely know Kez is going to pick up a penalty sooner or later. Well, another penalty, seeing as he already has a 3-second time penalty. And let's just watch it here as once again my game lags. At this point, I'm not surprised. As the drivers are now keeping it nice and tidy through the corners here. This is amazing driving from night. What in the world happened there? However, it does seem that James has come away with a 3-second time penalty. And once again, that's a safety car. That's Mr. Piggy that's come off. It seems as if Mr. Piggy may have had a crash here, and he may have lost his front wing, it seems. Let's have a look as we follow him into the pits, and it definitely seems like Kez may have a bit of damage as well. Yeah, as his front wing gets replaced, and once again it's the same for Mr. Piggy there, as both drivers seem to have had contact going down into the turn there. and that is quite unfortunate for both Kez and Mr. Piggy. However, a safety car will give the drivers chance to regroup, maybe even chance to pit and adjust their strategies quite a bit, so we'll have to wait and see. Let's see how it's looking towards the top of the grid now, as all the drivers keeping it within the pace. We may see some pits here as Becky going into the pits now. Pesci, you've got your wish. Oh, okay, that was definitely a bit of a glitch. However, we do have some drivers now coming into the pits for a stop. And let's just see how it goes here as Becky comes out in 5th place. However, we do have some drivers with some quite old tyres here. We have James, we have Ziggy who hasn't pitted. I was expecting Ziggy to pit. We have Cowley who hasn't pitted. I was expecting Cowley to pit as well. And we have Optimus who also hasn't pitted as they follow the safety car. And was that rain I've just seen? Yeah, we have a few drivers with inters on here. The rain has started, but however, I fear it may be too early for the inters here at the moment, as the rain does need to wet the track. Badger, not very happy with the Ferraris at the moment, asking them to sort themselves out. This is definitely going to be an interesting strategy change for quite a lot of the drivers here, as the safety car goes round once again. It looks to be another lap with the safety car here. Oh, okay, that's definitely my game glitched out quite a bit. The drivers now trying their best to keep their tyres warm, and I don't think this was a good strategy from the drivers here. However, the rain is definitely starting to pick up quite a bit as the track now starts to become wet. Maybe the inters were the right call after all, Deck. Maybe the inters were the right call after all. As the drivers now start making their way around the track now starting to become a bit more slippery. However, the driver's keeping it to a nice low speed. We may have a massive upset here as the rain comes into play about halfway into the race. I say about halfway because we're just under halfway. Please don't call me a mathematical idiot in the chat, please, because I can do basic maths, I swear. However, this may be the last lap for the safety car here, as there's a few drivers that still need a chance to catch up here. Yeah, I agree, Mert. I think Inter was the right call, as the track now definitely seems to have some puddles forming here, as the rain starts to take its effect on the track. However, will we see any drivers hit for the Inters within the next few laps? We will have to see. However, I do believe this is going to shake up the grid quite a bit here, as once again only 4 cars have pitted for the Inters here. This is definitely going to be an interesting change now, as Optimus gets us back started on lap 15, and we've already got cars overtaking down the straight, as Optimus makes his way down into the sweeping and bank turns on 14 lap old tyres. We shall just have to see how this goes here. However, I'm not seeing any drivers starting to struggle for grip just yet. It seems as if the track is still just dry enough for the slick tyres. However, that may change very, very quickly within the next few laps. Oh, and that's someone that's come off. It seems. No, No, maybe someone just trying their best not to lose it on the track. However, let's stick with the mid-table here, as quite a few drivers are on the dry tyres, minus Doug. Doug is the only driver in this pack that is on the intermediate tyres, which I believe is the right call from Doug. But we shall have to wait and see how this rain turns out. It may lighten up, it may get heavier. We don't know as of yet. DRS has been enabled. However, I have a feeling that DRS will be disabled very shortly. However, now we have Ivy overtaking Stone Cold as they go down into the banking turn now, with Ivy managing to get ahead. Luckily, he doesn't have to deal with any kind of battle from Stone Cold there as he gets close on Doug on the inters. Doug definitely going quite slow because of the inters. However, I do think that once again this was the right call from Doug, as the track does seem to be getting a bit wetter now. However, that rain is still very, very light. Let's just hope he doesn't burn out those tyres before the rain eventually takes effect. Oh, and that's Jen. Jen has slid off of the track. Oh, and that's a few cars now. That's Cinders sliding. Cinders with the inters. And Shazam with the inters. And that, once again, that's 50 Jen on the hard tyres, losing his rear end. That is unfortunate for Gent there, as he's lost his car twice within a lap. Let's just see how it's going here. Quite a few drivers still managing okay on the dry tyres at the moment. The rain still very light at the moment, and that's Jen once again. 50 Jen is just not coping well with those hard tyres whatsoever. He seems to be struggling really bad. And oh, he almost loses it into the barrier. That was extremely close for Jen there. His rear end just snapping out from underneath him. And let's just go further back up here, as we've got a nice line of cars here, who it looked as if Doug was about to pit for a second then, but he stays out. And we've got Bakey Cap. Fever. God. No, but I do agree with that statement. Jen is probably just like he's suffering at the moment. And the cars now making their way around through the S's and the sweeping turn now as they come up to DRS. That's Mr. Piggy now with a 3-second time penalty. That's two drivers now with a 3-second time penalty, and it looks as if 50 Jen has pitted here. Let's see what tyres he decides to go with, whether he's going to go for the inters or whether he stays with the slicks, and he's retired. 50 Jen has retired from the session. Oh, that is heartbreaking for Jen there. He was doing so well. Usually gets wet quick. Yeah, the tracks do tend to get wet pretty quick, and that's Optimus dropping back here as he's going into the pits. Maybe Optimus now is pitting for the inters. Never mind, he's pitting for the wets. Optimus is pitting for the wets. Okay, that is a strange strategy choice from Optimus there. Going on the wets. Optimus' strategy has left everyone confused here, as Optimus has decided to go for the full wets, despite the fact that it's still too dry for the inner tyres. I wonder what his thought process is there. It's definitely quite confusing. However, let's go further back up the grid, as we've got James trying to take on Bakey here, as Bakey manages to just slightly keep it in front here, going through onto the banking, as Bakey now takes his first place back after pitting during the safety car. However, let's have a look further back now, as we've got Ivy and Ziggy not far from each other, and the grid now definitely seems to be quite a bit more spaced out, as we've got Kez now up in 10th place. Kez in 10th place. What is Kez doing in 10th place? This has never happened before. Kez now trying to go for the overtake on the Ferrari of Widget. However, he just goes slightly wide and sends himself a bit further back than what he would have hoped. The track definitely seems to be getting a bit more wet now, as I can start to see some larger puddles forming on the surface of the track. However, will we see some cars pit this lap for the Inters? We shall have to wait and see, as they all come down the main straight now. It just seems to be overtake after overtake on the straight, as Widget overtakes Stone Cold, and Doug now dropping back. Doug dropping out of the top 10 on the inner tyres, as his teammate Bevan is not far behind. However, he does have the Alpine of Mr. Piggy right behind him. Yeah, the inners are definitely cooked. Inners are cooked more than a well done steak. But I guess that's why people compare well done steaks to tyres, because these things are cooked. That's Kez is now in 8th place. What is going on with Kez here, as he takes 7th from Widget? What is going on with Kez here? Kez is just absolutely belting it. My word! Someone has lit a fire under Kez tonight. He is absolutely blasting it, moving the McLaren up to 7th place. It seems as if the Rainmeister is finally coming out in Kez. The German proving that he can handle the rain once and for all properly, as he moves himself up to 7th in the Dutch Grand Prix. My word, what an absolute performance from Kez. Maybe he just needs that bit of rain after all. Oh, that rear end twitches as he comes downhill. He may have to start pitting for the Inters in a second, as the track now seems to be getting more and more wet. I would advise possibly pitting for the Inters, as the rain has been going on for quite a few laps now. Oh, excuse me. Acid reflux. Ugh. Anywho, let's move further back up the grid here, as we've now got Cowley and James in the two Red Bulls in 2nd and 3rd. Strong points for the Red Bull here. Very strong points for the Red Bull. And that's Widget now with a 3-second time penalty. That's 4 drivers with time penalties in this race. However, Kez still only having a 3-second time penalty. That is absolutely mad. That is absolutely mad to me, that Kez has somehow not managed to pick up another time penalty. But I will say one thing. His performance has definitely improved, and as we can imagine, Optimus is at the back with the wet tyres. I'm not going to lie, Optimus, I don't know what you were thinking, dude. Like, why did you think this was a good idea? However, we've got a back and forth between Bevan and Mr. Piggy here. And, ooh, it looked as if Mr. Piggy was going to try and go down the inside of Bevan, but decided not to last minute after seeing how close that was. We've got quite a few drivers here still making their way around, and it's Widget and Doug. Widget and Doug having a bit of a battle here as Kez keeps increasing that lead from Widget. What is going on with Kez here tonight? However, let's go further back up the grid. Bakey just absolutely flying in front with a 2.6 second gap. And that's Ziggy now going into the pits. It definitely seems as if some drivers might be making their interstops now, as the track might be getting a little wet. Never mind, Ziggy's pitting for the softs. Okay. That's definitely an interesting choice. And it's Widget now pitting for the inters. Oh gosh. But Kez has a 3.2 second gap over Doug. Like, excuse me? Like, what is happening here? Kez is now in 6th place. 6th place for the Kezinator. I definitely think Kez has most definitely found his footing here at the Dutch Grand Prix as we move on to lap 25 of 36. He's only got a 3-second time penalty. That's the thing. Kez only has a 3-second time penalty. He's only had the one so far. Everybody is in shock with how well Kez has been doing this race so far. And it's a virtual safety car here. I think someone might have come off. And it's Cinders. What has happened with Cinders here? I think Cinders may have lobby restart needed. But that's unfortunate for Cinders there, as he has retired from the session now. As Bakey still in first place, get his hacks off. But yeah, it's definitely been quite an interesting race now, and Bakey now coming into the pits. And let's see what tyres he goes for here, and Bakey switching to the softs. Okay, that's interesting. Despite the fact that there's rain, he's decided to go for the softs. And Kez now potentially taking first place. Oh, he doesn't. Bakey just managing to get away from Kez as Kez takes second place in the race. I don't know, he might not. Kez might take it to the end. And it's a full safety car now. The question is, will Kez be able to hold out on the 14-lap old mediums? I was going to say hards, but he's not. He's on mediums. And the thing is he wouldn't lose a place to James either. I mean, he'd lose a place to a few of the drivers that are behind him. But other than that, he'd still be pretty high up in the grid. But we'll just have to see how this goes after the safety car here. It says virtual safety car for some reason, but the actual safety car has come out, so I don't understand why it hasn't changed. Kes to win on all tyres. Could you imagine? Could you imagine that? Bakey loses it going into a turn, and Kes takes the win. Oh my god. What is happening here? Have we entered some sort of like alternate dimension or something? Like, genuinely, what is going on in this race? And Prime now dropping down quite a bit. I think I might have moved to the side there. And we've got Stone Cold coming into the pits now. Oh no, coming out of the pits, sorry. Excuse me. As he now pits for the softs. We are on lap 27 of 36, less than 10 laps to go. It doesn't seem to be getting heavier, it seems to be staying the same at the moment. Still seems to be staying quite light for the meantime. However, let's move back further up the grid as we have the cars coming through into the sweeping turns now. Kez trying his best to keep it close to Bakey so he can maybe get that slipstream going off down the main straight. As the virtual safety car seems to be staying out for another lap here. As we now go on to lap 28 of this race now. Not much to commentate on here at the moment, and it seems like Ziggy's now going into the pits. What is Ziggy pitting for here? Ziggy now pitting for the inter tyres. Don't really see much point, if I'm going to be honest, considering that we're getting close to the end of the race. However, this may be Ziggy's master plan here, as he still has time to catch up to the rest of the grid. We have 3 cars on the intermediate tyres here. Neither do I, Pesci, neither do I. I am extremely confused so far. I'm just thinking, didn't we have a car on wet tyres like a couple laps ago? Yeah, that was Optimus. There was Optimus on the wet tyres. I mean, I don't know. With the safety car keeping the wear to a minimum, we'll just have to wait and see as we now have the safety car coming in as we start lap 29 of the Grand Prix. We shall have to wait and see as Bakey keeps the pace for the grid now as they come round onto the banking, and we shall have to just wait and see. Kez keeping himself to the side here, and we'll have to wait and see as it's back to racing, and Kez now trying his best to keep it down the straight, and he keeps second. Kez keeps second place. Oh, never mind, we've got James up the inside. However, he doesn't take it. Kez still in second place. What is going on here? What is happening right now? Kez is in second place and he's holding on to it. What is going on? Kez keeping it nice and tidy for second place. However, that's James coming up the inside for the switchback as Kez keeps the inside line, and it seems as if he has a bit more grip coming out of the turn than he does with James. Kez trying his best not to panic. Keep it calm, Kez. Keep it calm, lads. You've got this. And we've got some moves further back here as we see a couple of position changes. However, it seems as if Kez is a bit of trouble on the straight here, as he has James going for the overtake, and oh, that's very close. That is very close. And Prime now making his way up the grid with the Inter tyres now up to P5, as we now have quite a few drivers making their way up here. I'm at a loss for words at the moment. Oh my word. We've got Bakey now, who already has a 3-second gap, and that's Kez unfortunately losing the place to James there, as Kez is now just starting to slide. Oh, this is unfortunate for Kez. However, we'll just have to wait and see here as we come onto lap 31. 5 laps to go. Can Kez hold on to the podium position? However, I don't think he will, seeing as he has a 3-second time penalty. Either way, it's still going to be a very high points finish for Kez. I am just in absolute shock here tonight. Kez absolutely winging it now, as he has the Haas and the Red Bull and the Merc of Bevan, Prime and Cowley right behind him. However, he is holding on strong with 19 lap old mediums as he gets overtaken by Bevan. Excuse me. It seems so, Fever. It seems so. Bevan now on the podium with Kez now in P5. But let's just see how he holds up as we now go on to lap 32. What is going on here? Why is DRS still activated? I'm very confused here. Like, what is even the point of this race? Oh, that looks like contact. It looks as if Kez had contact with somebody in front and he ghosted for a second there. Hey, don't give the guy too much stick. He's still in P6, and that's really good for Kez. Passed out for a nosebleed at the wheel. Hey, he's still holding strong to P6. He's still holding strong to P6. We now move on to lap 33. 3 laps to go. Bakey absolutely barreling it down now, keeping that lead nice and comfortable with a 1.8 second gap to James here. And we've got James all on his lonesome at the moment, and we've got Optimus 3 seconds behind.
7, 1 second behind. I agree with you that I would actually give Kez driver of the day here. Kez has had an absolutely amazing drive. Ooh, that looks very nasty. As one of the drivers, I'm not sure which one, as I didn't catch it properly, lost their rear for a second there and almost lost it off of the track. We would have potentially had another safety car there. And Mr. Piggy has been disconnected from the session, it seems. Let's go further back up the grid now. Let's check on our boy Kez. Kez now still in P6, still holding strong to that P6. However, he does have Wilco right behind him. And he's just trying so hard to keep that car on the track. As Wilco now gets the DRS going down the straight, but can Kez keep it? No! He just manages to slip past Kez. Wilco takes the P6 from Kez, and that's Widget with a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. My word. Oh god, my voice is starting to go. But this has just been an absolutely amazing race here tonight, folks. Despite the rain, there's been no need for the inner tyres, it seems, as Kez now defending, becoming the Ministry of Defence, as he holds off Doug. Kez trying to defend with his life here as he goes down the main straight, but can he keep Doug at bay long enough to protect himself into the turn? Yes, he can. Oh, and that's very close from Doug there. That is very, very close from Doug as Doug goes down the inside. However, Kez managing to stay ahead of Doug as we go into the last few laps here. Can Kez hold on into lap 35 of 36? Kez staying in P7 so far. Can Kez hold on to that P7 in the last few laps? Oh no! Kez sending it far too wide as he drops down to P9. I may have jinxed Kez there. Commentator's curse. Oh, Kez. Oh, buddy. I should have switched. I should have switched driver. I shouldn't have focused on Kez. Kez, I'm sorry, dude. However, let's go further up as Wilco now in P6 as we come onto the fast lap, and that's James. That's James that takes the lead from Bakey. What has happened there? It seems as if James is going to be getting the win. What an absolute upset coming into the last lap of the race here. James taking the win from Bakey and getting a 2-second lead on the Williams. What is going on in this race? As we start coming down towards the sweeping turns now, almost towards the banking. This has been one hell of a confusing race. However, down towards the banking, down towards the straight, and it's the Red Bull of James that takes the win in the Dutch Grand Prix, with Bakey in the Williams following in second and Optimus in the Haas taking the third place on the podium. My word, what a race here tonight, folks. This has just been absolute pandemonium from the start. Oh yeah, Baker P won. I completely forgot. I completely forgot James had a pen. So that is Bakey that takes the win. However, it is James who gets second place. That is absolutely unfortunate for James there, and even the game agrees that Optimus Prime gets driver of the day here. What an absolute race here at the Dutch Grand Prix. This has just been absolutely stellar. Now, let me just get the... There's the race calendar. Here we are. So, next week, it is Austria. So we shall see how we do as next week we head to the Red Bull Ring. I am very excited for the Red Bull Ring. However, it will be another commentator that week. You will have the commentator of Lord. So this is me signing off for the Dutch Grand Prix. I hope you all have enjoyed. It has been an absolutely chaotic race this week. However, we shall be back next week with Tier 3 UFRL in Austria at the Red Bull Racing Ring. This is Rack signing off for the UFRL. Good night, everyone, and see you next week.